What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. We're doing a little different setup. I got my new PC set up, and I figured out how to use my better camera. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to kind of do a live reaction to the videos I post about anyway. So I thought it'd be more interesting to do a live one instead of me writing a script and just seeing how I react to this in the moment. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and let's just get right to it. All right, I just want to get the screen set up so we can see Seth and Matt. This is on the line. If you watch my channel, you probably watch their channel. Awesome channel. Matt Delahunty has been doing this forever. Seth, I actually don't know his last name, is been doing this for a while as well. So, all right, let's get into it. The video is a Christian caller admits. I always like to see things that say Christian caller admits. So, yeah, let's see what they admit.
Be true to my word. 425 out of Washington. Jesse, welcome. You're on with Matt Delahunty and Seth Andrews. Hi, you there?
How are you guys?
Well, what's on your mind?
Okay, yeah, sorry, I actually almost fell asleep because I was on that hold with the music.
No, we have that effect
Sorry.
on people, and it's epidemic. But no, join us in the land of the living and tell us what's on your mind.
Yeah, okay. So I guess the focus of my call would be just inference to the best explanation, which is why I'm a theist.
Inference of what?
Abductive reasoning?
Just inference to the best explanation,
that is literally the definition of abductive reasoning.
Okay.
Now, I do agree with abductive reasoning to figure out things that we possibly can never get all the information to. But if he's going to say the evidence points towards God, then that's where we'll kind of split up there, because as we look around, the silence, the evil, we would call it, it's just a way of describing things. But the suffering, maybe I should use that word instead. The suffering that we see, the unneeded suffering, most of it points to either a God that does not interact or no God at all.
I'm not sure I'm not like an expert with all this stuff,
Sure.
But I could be misusing terminology.
Jesse, before you continue, if I see theist, can I ask you what specific religion you represent today?
Oh yeah, I'm an evangelical Christian.
Okay,
like Matt used to be.
That's fine. Go ahead, brother.
Heretic. No,
Go ahead. You're fine.
By the way.
So yeah, basically for me, it's just I like to think of myself as a pretty logical person. So I was hurled into this world like the rest of us, and we're just trying to make sense of it. So sorry if I'm a little nervous. This is the first time I've been watching.
You're doing fine.
For a long time.
Doing fine.
Surreal actually talking to you. So
you're doing good.
But so
some of this I might skip through, by the way, if it's too much of a load.
We're born into this world, and we're just trying to make sense of it the best we know how. And of course, I could be deceived or self-deception, which is scary because then you don't know that you're deceived if you're deceived. That's the scary thing with it. But I like to think that I try to make sense of the world the best I know how. And so for me, it's like making an inference to the best explanation leads me to theism simply because
I'd like to know, like, you guys take a moment, pause. I know I got a lot of believers out there. Great to have you, by the way. Go into the comments and kind of give me your reason, like your best reason for believing. I would like that. Thanks.
How do I put it? I feel like anything I say, you guys have already heard, but like basically,
being honest,
I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it makes more sense, whether it's true or not. It just makes more sense based on what I know up to this point. That
so you're throwing truth out the window and just going by whatever's comforting. Because I don't understand when somebody says, I don't understand how someone can say it makes sense whether it's true or not. Because if it's not true,
okay, so yeah.
Well, is it about
I just
comfort
mean,
or is it about
like, I don't.
inference and assumption?
I think for the most part, it is a lot about comfort. It feels very comfortable to know what's going to happen, to know someone's looking after you. Sorry for hitting my mic. It feels good to know that someone has your back. That's why community is such a big thing. And if you're not going to be in a religion, it is so important to get with a positive community. Positive, by the way. And that's what religion does, and that's what it has done. That's the good thing about it. It's just dangerous when we say that these stories that are obviously fairy tales are true, and then that they also are from a divine being that cares about what you do, who you sleep with, what you eat, how you dress. That's where it gets dangerous, and that's where it doesn't tie in with reality. I know we're able to do a lot of these things, but it wouldn't make sense if the whole point of it is what the Bible says is the point. Doesn't match our reality.
Which may or may not be comforting. I'm a little lost.
Okay, so for me, it's. I'm not claiming knowledge, or I'm not claiming that I know. It's just more what makes the most sense to me based on what I currently know about the world, if that makes sense.
So you would say, based on a limited understanding of the world, which we all have, you have intuited a theistic deity that is the Christian God.
I think that's a correct summation. Yeah, and and I'm willing to admit completely that if we learn new things about the world, which we might, that could totally upend everything I believe, 100%.
I wonder.
Awesome to hear. That's all I ask, is just the honesty of possibly being able to be convinced otherwise. I have no argument with anyone that ever says that.
If you were to look backwards and say 1,500 years ago, when we knew less about the world, was Christianity even more reasonable then than it is now?
So objectively, Christianity is as reasonable as it is, regardless of what time, I would suppose.
Oh, that's
right.
That's
so
not. That's not.
So yeah, it would. I guess.
And if
then
so,
it would seem more.
So what I'm getting his point is, the more information we know, the less Christianity becomes reasonable, and that's how it should be. We find more and more information. Science has never found something spiritual. It's always answered the question of what we thought was spiritual, and it's always been physical.
Reasonable than it does now.
So first of all, abductive reasoning is this reasoning toward the best explanation. And then you have to justify why a particular explanation is in fact the best one or better than another, or why you are reaching a conclusion to say, this is the answer I'm going to accept. Not that you claim to know it, but that you believe that it is true, because that's what belief is, to assent that it is true. And so you have to show, hey, I must make a decision here, and this is the best explanation that I have available. And even in that scenario, you'd still have to show why it's the best explanation. When it comes to, is there a God? Not only am I not convinced that anybody has to make a decision, I'm not convinced that God could be the best explanation, and that it is a more appealing and intuitive best explanation when your sample size of potential explanations is narrowed. So if you go back 1,500 years, the Christian God was, and any other God, seemed to be a more reasonable explanation for any number of observed phenomena. You heard a weird noise, you think you saw a ghost. Why is there something rather than nothing? What makes the trees grow? Life get here?
Just bringing up the ghost story, it's something I used to just ask people questions about. If you've met me in the past, I probably asked you if you've ever seen a ghost, if you ever believe in the supernatural. I am a person that has been searching for proof of that since I was a child. I am so interested in if that is possibly a thing, just like everybody else. I assume my curiosity towards the supernatural is a normal thing. I just probably speak about it. question it a little bit more, and I like to dive into it. Maybe one day I'll tell you the funny story about when me and my wife first got together.
All of those things intuitively, abductively seem like, oh, because that's what God wanted. But then we went and learned, that lightning is a physical phenomenon, and we learned about DNA and evolution and biology. And so it seems like the more we learn, the fewer space there is left to go sticking a God in as a proposed answer. And so not only is abductive reasoning not acceptable in many categories for, outside of the absolute necessity, but I don't accept that even with abductive reasoning, God did it is ever the best explanation because it doesn't explain anything. It's indistinguishable from its magic.
It is
Is
magic.
magic the best explanation?
No, but there's.
Okay, then explain how God, from our perspective, is different from magic.
Do it.
So I track with what you're saying 100%. As far as Christianity back then, theism explained a lot more only because we didn't know as much, and as we fill in those gaps with actual knowledge about the world, it kind of backed God further and further into a corner. That's a demonstrable historical fact.
Yeah, that's not what I asked.
I agree there. What's that?
That's not what I asked, though. I asked you to. So you said magic is not the best explanation, but God is, and I'm asking you to show how God is distinguishable from our frame of reference from magic.
Okay, so I guess you're familiar with William Lane Craig. I'm sure you guys are a huge fan of him.
Yes, I've debunked him many times.
One of the things that he said that kind of stuck with me was, the dichotomy God or not God. Not God kind of implies that reality, in some sense, put itself together. Okay, fair enough. We don't know.
No, Jesse. It absolutely does not imply that. If Craig said that, then he's wrong, and you're wrong to accept that. But my question was, how is God distinguishable from magic?
It's something that you just don't want to answer if you believe everything 100%. You can't answer it. You know you can't answer it. So you have to try to get out of the conversation. Eventually, this may be what makes this guy admit that he's just been indoctrinated. But this question is so hard to answer. What is the difference between magic and God? To us, by the way, it would be magic. There's a saying about alien technology. I forgot who said that. I think it was one of the Lockheed people. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Doesn't matter. But the alien technology would be indistinguishable, right, between God-like technology.
Okay, sorry, I'm rabbit trailing. So, in one sense, he's not, but in the sense that he is distinguishable.
From our frame of reference, sitting here as a human, and you're proposing God did it is the best explanation, and magic did it is not the best explanation. I need to know how those are distinguishable from our frame of reference.
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure, and I'm not trying to be obtuse. I'm trying to be as honest and straightforward as possible. As far as magic,
he's really not.
So how I define magic would be, it's almost incoherent. It's like something just magically pops into being seemingly with no explanation. Is that kind of how you define?
That is magic. That would be God. God would have just popped. Whatever. God would be magic. God would be magic. Just say it. It's okay, guys. It's okay. I promise you, it's okay. You can still believe and admit that it doesn't make sense. I promise you.
Magic?
No, because I don't use the same word to define the word, and I don't necessarily know that it's incoherent. Magic is a word that we tend to label, that we tend to use for violations of the laws of physics that have never been demonstrated to actually exist. The violations.
Okay, got you. So, by all accounts, God would sort of do that.
But do what?
But then again, violate the laws of physics by, being able to, for example, create something out of nothing, creation
Which is magic.
right? That's almost like
Why would
magic.
you make that? Why would you make the determination that God would and must exist beyond the laws of physics?
So, okay, yeah. So for me, and again, correct me if I'm wrong in my reasoning, but I feel like the universe.
I'm not interested in what you feel like. What I'm interested in is what can you demonstrate for us? I feel like is something that anyone could say about anything, anywhere. So can you connect some dots?
And it hurts that you can't give evidence when you believe. I get it. It hurts. You can't give evidence.
It's for me.
Okay. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a layman. So I'm just going on my limited understanding of the world. But
I get it. I'd like to sort of wade through the qualifiers for momentum's sake and just connect the dot for me. How do you get from here to there to the specific Christian God?
Well, that's another topic that I wasn't kind of thinking about going into. But just as far as like a theist God as the prime mover, forget about the Christian God, but as just a theistic God as the prime mover, I personally believe that that's logically necessary because, and correct me if I'm wrong, the alternative would be that this physical reality just made itself, and that seems incoherent to me.
Okay,
and the reason
wrong.
that seems incoherent.
It's the same thing as God.
What's that?
You're wrong, both in virtually everything that you said, but in a technical sense. I just want to clarify the technical one, which is when you say that something is when you say that something is logically necessary, logical necessity does not in any way consider content. So a syllogism, for example, is a structured argument. Its validity is entirely about the structure and does not care what the content is. Its soundness is based on whether or not the premises are accepted as true. And so when you say X is logically necessary, that is something where you have to actually make the case and not just and to show what we're talking about specifically.
Yeah,
like when you say it's logically
necessary, and then
necessary,
we'll skip forward to the point of the video.
Because it sounds like what you're doing is once again going, this is what makes the most sense to me, which that's not how reason works. That's not how arguments work. I mean,
at that point, if anybody can just say, this is what is true to me, then yeah, anything's possible. Any God is possible. Any God can be real. That's where I found myself at one point, because I said that to myself. And then I'm like, oh, well, wait, everybody could be right. I could be wrong. And that's what started me down. One of the things that started me down this journey of trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And realizing if I'm saying my beliefs are true because I feel it's true in my heart and my head, and then I hear someone else saying the same thing, it makes you think, and you have to stop and think and question your beliefs. And give me a moment here. I'm going to skip forward. I don't want to go through this whole video, but I do want to get to the point to where the gentleman actually admits he could have been indoctrinated. So in the future, you'll see me. Okay, this is close enough. Let's start here.
A bunch of people who are really uncomfortable, like all of us, with saying, I don't know, have been really frustrated for the entirety of human existence with not knowing the answers to why is there something rather than nothing? What happens after we die? Am I alone when I feel alone? Is anybody watching? How did I get here? And so they made shit up. And the stuff that they made
100%.
up either gets debunked because they were silly enough to make it testable and falsifiable, and then it got falsified, or the stuff they made up, they made it unfalsifiable so that it was impervious to debunking. Those are the ones that persist as religious claims.
That's such a great point. And that's why I wanted to kind of go back. The main point of the video is a little bit forward. So if you want to just skip to like, I don't know, a couple minutes from now, you'll see where he starts to admit that. But the point here is the things that have withstood time are the things that we cannot test. And that makes sense. And that's because those are the magical things. Those are the non-physical things that have never been proven. Anything that can be proven, it's physical.
And it's the reason why there's billions of believers who believe in a variety of different gods, all of whom are untestable, unfalsifiable, and they'll never be proven wrong, probably.
Yeah, and no, I understand that. And just because you can't be proven wrong does not add any value to the truth of it whatsoever.
That's the first honest answer I heard there.
I mean, you're there, Jesse. I'm with you. I just, I know the temptation. The temptation is to be like, it just doesn't, like when you look at the world, it doesn't make any sense. We should have a better understanding of this now. How did this come to be? It seems like either the universe made itself or some being did it, except that maybe the universe wasn't made at all. Maybe it is a natural phenomenon that we're seeing in a limited scope, just as we are for life. Maybe that the universe is, I make a distinction between the universe as our local presentation of the universe and the cosmos, which from Carl Sagan is all that is and ever was. And so the cosmos would include a multiverse and maybe universe generators and all kinds of things that we can't investigate. And what religions are doing and what you're doing, I know that this isn't your intent, you're just an honest thinker pursuing this stuff. What religions do is,
he's being honest and not honest, and he's the part of him that's not being honest is because he doesn't want to tear that last part of his soul away from this.
Say, fuck all that extra stuff. Let's not engage in all that imagining. Let's not wonder about, how many of these other billions of possible explanations might be right. Let's just go ahead and accept this one because our ancestors did and the people around us do. And it has added benefits that if I accept this one, I'm not going to be ostracized like that atheist over there. I'm not going to be sidelined.
Group mentality.
I'm in with the right crowd. And they're not going to take my rights away the way they're going to take other people's rights away. I'd much rather go with what I know, which is human beings and the principles of skepticism and humanism that demonstrably lead to a better world than any religion has ever imagined, and doesn't hinder us from saying, I don't know what the right answer is, but I'm willing to go find out, which religions absolutely do, stopping progress, burning libraries, denying science, and marginalizing people for the.
We're literally going through this right now. I do think these people will be on the wrong end of history, but we won't talk politics here. If you want to go to politics, you go to my other channel. I'll post it in the comments below.
Entire history of the world.
Yeah, and it's weird because like almost everything you just said makes perfect sense.
That's
got him.
So, but it's like there's still this part of me that's like, it's a personal thing, so it's hard for me to convey it to you because you obviously aren't me. But it's like everything you said makes perfect sense, but it's like there's still this part of me that's like, it's. I have a friend who's an atheist, and he's the opposite of me. He's like, I just can't understand how you can believe in God, and it's like, yo, that's fair. But I can't understand how you can't believe in God, and I don't even know why I can't understand that. It maybe like you said, because
now he's really being honest. So I appreciate
raised
it.
in a Christian home from generation to generation, and my parents believed it, so I believe it. Maybe I've been indoctrinated. I don't know, but
Bigfoot?
It definitely hasn't. But what's that?
You believe in Bigfoot?
I do not, because I don't think there's. You're going to get me on this. I don't think there's sufficient evidence.
All right, cool. And we're going to end it right there. There's about 8 minutes left in the video, but there's no point of that. I will post this video in the comment section or in the description below. So yeah, go check it out. I want to give Jesse a 2 thumbs up for being really honest. He really was honest. At the beginning, I was saying that he didn't seem as he's being honest, but then he got to his honesty. It takes that long to kind of break down all those barriers to be able to even say the last thing he just said. He didn't even say he didn't believe anymore, but it takes that long. This was a 28-minute call, and it took 20 minutes to break this guy down to be able to say he could be wrong, and he doesn't understand why he won't allow himself to believe that he's wrong. Such an amazing thing. Thanks guys for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, you're a soldier. Thanks for questioning your beliefs. If you like this format, just give me a little thumbs up, like this, share it with your friends, and comment below. Thank you guys.